We good? All right. Welcome everybody to our work session for the budget, and we'll just dive right into it. Thank you and welcome for coming, Emmett. We're going to be talking about roads, so I won't keep you any longer than we need to. Go for it.
So, those are the items. The budget. Is that an updated one?
I didn't put anything in it, Emma, because I don't have figures yet.
Okay, all right, now I'm good then. Yeah, I'm good.
It's just, it's a guide.
That's the pen.
Yes.
Oh, mine is somebody else like that. A few
He
minutes.
didn't put anything in it because I didn't give him anything. And I told him that I wasn't gonna be here at the first December meeting because I'm gonna be, out of town, so this is awesome that we can do this tonight, thank you.
Perfect, thank you.
Why don't I just make it easy? So, before the block grant and the 100,000 that you folks have been putting in that,
Yeah,
In
so the
this.
last four lines were the old block
Correct.
grant that haven't been there
So-
for 2 years now.
It looks like 2023, the general maintenance was at, I think Dana and I was at $236,000 before the block grant and the other 100,000. So if I do 5% on that, that ought to take care of things. I mean, the cost of everything has gone stupid. I got done mowing, we mowed for a week, we rented 2 tractors, and I ran my tractor. And mowed all week, brought the tractor home, and within a half an hour, the tire was flat. A glass, a bottle, or something, whatever. I mowed all week for nothing. Time I bought 2 tires and 2 tubes and broke it down. It's just, everything you touch is money. So, I told Dana I was gonna do 5 on my firehouse and 5 on that 236 before the block grant money, and, because I didn't figure it would be right to add all that in and then go 5.
Well-
And then where you guys go from that is,
So, just saying 5% is fine, but what are you actually expecting to, or, like, if you're doing the full load of all the stuff that you believe needs to be done next year, what is that budget? That's what we need to have here.
but I'm not following you. You gotta start, the full load?
Right, so if you're saying, I think we're kind of working backwards here.
Okay, so you want the block grant,
So,
the
ignore
road
the-
preservation?
No, ignore the block grant,
Yeah.
ignore,
in-
what we're trying to get to, in order to do this correctly, is to say, if you're doing all of the road maintenance and preservation, et cetera, that you expect should be done and you'll have time to do in 2025, what does that look like for the breakdown and the amounts?
Oh, I don't believe
Because
we've
that's-
ever done it this way.
That's the budget that we need to look at, so
Well,
that we
there's
know
three-
if we're
there's-
giving you the
there's
mu-
3
the
different budgets
much that
there.
you need.
As far as I'm looking at it, your budget with your road preservation is one budget, road construction's another budget.
Yeah, we're not talking construction. Construction is CIP.
Well, so isn't road preservation. Because what the committee the other night said, I came down Thursday night, they don't wanna put any money into road preservation. They want $230,000 to do detour road while the bridge is getting fixed. So it's all done on that end of town, and don't shim anywhere or do any chip sealing. So, I mean, that's up to you guys to decide. I mean, I'm not gonna argue with people.
Well,
No.
shimming and chip sealing would be preservation.
It would be, but they were gonna take all the road preservation money, because you're talking $230,000 to do that section of road.
Yeah, so they're talking the full length of detour? Okay. But wouldn't it make sense, so I'm gonna step out of line here, I think, for a second, cause you're the road agent, but wouldn't it make sense to wait until the bridge is done to do detour road? Or no?
It really doesn't matter. You could go either way. I have a plan. I got something else up my sleeve
So what's that?
Yeah,
No,
hold on.
no, without,
But it's good to hear your plan. I mean, we just, we look to you to tell us what you're hoping
Right,
to
but-
be able to do, which might not be what you get done.
right, but it's like I told the planning board the other night. I don't care what road we do, because there's always one that needs to be done, and no more you're gonna get done, and you're gonna have to start over. So, and it's like I told them, if you give me money for road project, that's great. If you don't, there's plenty of work otherwhere. But it doesn't matter if it's Detour Road or Little Hill or Lake Road, I don't care what road it is, but that's what it's gonna take from start to finish to do that.
So you have a budget for what you think, cause you don't know, costs could change.
Yeah,
by
it's-
next-
it's-
But
it's-
hold on, let me ask the question. You have, I think all we're looking for is a little bit of, and I get it, things will change. I get your feeling of it. You can budget all you want, and it goes up in smoke. It's annoying, but that's life, right? And when we're trying to help
Oh, I understand.
well, but if you did, you'd understand why we're asking, because we're looking to you, as you run the roads every day, you plow them, you do everything to them. We don't have to run every part of the road, right? We're looking to you to say, hey, look it, I got all of these roads that need work, okay? And you jump in at any time. But I can only do so many a year, because we only got so much money, right? And I get that, and that's what you're trying to say, hey, give me money and I will do a certain amount of roads. I think we're looking for, so that we can back what we give you for money, that you have some kind of a plan. So that if we get questioned as the budget goes forward, we can say, well, this year, he's hoping, and this is his number, approximately, to get that road done. And when we get that road done, then this road, and this is approximately what the budget is, along with, and I get it, I'm still wrapping my head around where all your money is. Do you know what I mean? I mean, in the big scheme of things, you got around 700, right? In the big scheme.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But hold on. With that being said, so that we can answer to the townspeople, just like you, would be nice to be able to say, well, I'm sorry that you want your road done or your potholes fixed. Right now, he's putting money towards this road. And then next year, this road. Is what he's hoping. I mean, maybe a couple of years out, that would be me.
And I have a list of that. Russell wanted me to put a list together for the CIP, and I did. And it takes time to sit down and go measure everything again. And then we got down here, and he had all my I worked a day and a half on getting 4 roads ready for prices. Already had the information. I got that list out in the truck, what needs to be done in the cost. I didn't bring it in, I can run out and get it.
Is that, are you talking
Road construction
maintenance
and
or
road
just
preservation.
construction?
No,
Okay.
this is maintenance. Well, and that's what confused me on,
Well, maybe I'm confused with
Yeah,
my big
so-
speech I just
Yeah,
gave.
so
I could be, I'm with you.
construction, rebuilding, et cetera, that's.
Correct.
That's one
That's
thing.
the construction thing in
And then
CIP,
we're-
that's one thing.
Okay, and that's where they said that
And
this is what
that's-
they,
correct, and
but
that's,
you gave them a list
But-
of roads that you were hoping to be able to do, and this CIP is gonna recommend you to do this road.
correct, which, but, so this is what just got me confused with,
What Dave just
I
said.
was just working on the general budget,
Yes.
the one that.
That's where I'm
the-
trying
the
to get
one-
to.
Yes, and that's what I said, it's $236,000 before block grant,
And that 236 is just to.
plowing snow,
Oh, okay.
road and grading.
Thank you.
Grading, cutting the brush, cleaning up the trees, mud season, which we had a wicked mud season, I spent
Yep.
$25,000 or $30,000 in 4 days in rock.
Hopefully you don't have that again this
Well,
coming year,
if
but
it
you never
does,
Well,
know.
some of the roads I think that you did
Oh,
put that
yeah,
material to is
yeah,
gonna,
yeah.
I think they should hold up better than they.
I do.
They just needed
And
that
that was a
anyways.
mud
but
season last spring, like I hadn't seen in a long,
Yeah.
long time.
Last whole year,
Yeah, so,
Yes.
so
Not in a
that, the
drought.
general maintenance,
or we are.
in that, the general maintenance used to be you'd throw some coal patch in the truck, but then we've come a long ways. We don't really have a lot of roads, closed Pin Bridge Road, section of Deer Meadow. There's just a couple of roads that we have to go out and fix the potholes. It's not a weekly or an every other week deal, cause we've come a long ways with our roads.
Yep.
Yep.
I mean, there is, I mean, I go,
So
like, even
that-
like a Winnapocket Road where you eventually will fill in those potholes. so
Well,
we don't-
that,
yeah.
that I'd like to shim, because that right now, if we went up there for 2 or 3 days with a pounder and got that ditch cleaned out on the other side of Rob's to get that water back and it didn't hit the wing arms and
Well,
clean
I'm
that.
assuming, yeah, plowing that's not gonna be all that fun, for sure, needed that part of it,
Yeah,
yeah.
but, and then, that is a road preservation, the Winnapocket's a road preservation project because it's not far enough gone to be a road construction.
Okay, so,
So let's get back to the budget.
so that's where I'm trying to go, is that the preservation stuff and the normal operating stuff, all of that, we're trying to have in the budget, so it's easy for you to take care of everything, and to go, well, maybe it was originally slated for this road, but I need it on this one for the way that
So,
you're handling all of
let me
that.
let me get back to, last year, you put $200,000 into road preservation, correct? So
Let me check.
it's just, can I grab a pen, Dana? Do you have a pen? I
Sure,
can-
right on the table over there, there's one, Emmett.
Can I run out to my truck and get that list?
Sure.
Yeah, I would
Absolutely.
love that,
Do you
please.
mind?
Good idea.
If you
And,
don't
and
mind.
just to answer your question as you go, we put 100 into road preservation last year.
Okay, that was because I had money left over from the year before.
Yeah, it was
So
100,
you're just
then
thinking about the total.
223, then back
Correct.
to 120.
Yes, because I had money left over that was saved up. That's,
And highways and roads went up to 275.
see, at the budget meeting the other night, they were telling me 200 went into road preservation and 100 went into road construction, and I'm going, well, that isn't, but I just listened.
I believe that's what they had recommended at the time.
Okay,
So it
So-
was their recommendation.
so
I
let
think
me
so.
go get my
It's not what we
paperwork.
actually did.
So
Why
we'll
does
have
this
to
seem
look
so
at more
much more
articles.
complicated than it is? Dude,
We are on video.
oh,
But
still
yes,
seems complicated.
it
I'm
is,
sorry.
it is complicated, and it shouldn't.
You just wanna help get to the part.
Yep.
that, keep
Right.
the taxes low and make sure our roads don't
Well,
push you
that's
away.
that's why we're trying to do this. That's why we
Right.
take. the
Well, that's
time
why
to
I
do
just
this.
said
Yeah.
it's, yeah. Right. Mhm. But,
I
and
don't
then,
know
and then
if you
it's,
have the reports in front of you for this, but can you do you have the numbers for how much we took out of road preservation fund this year?
I don't have it with me, but I can go down and probably get it.
I think that will become helpful for us.
Okay.
Would you just ask him, 'cause I was thinking about something else.
The
when we were
road
talking.
preservation fund, how much we took out of it this year?
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of like, would like,
Because
I don't know, see,
essentially,
you just pull that up because you're, you know.
yeah, because I went to the other part of it. But and Dana's gonna go grab the numbers that came out of road preservation this year for us as well, so we'll have that too.
Well, road preservation, I can tell you, road preservation, we did 99,000 on chip sealing. And then,
So that's about half, really, right?
well, and then we shimmed the White Plains Road. That was like 70,000. And then all the culvert work and all the work that we did on Little Hill to get it ready, that all came out of road preservation as well.
So I do have a quick question, so that I understand it, because the culvert and bridges account, why does culverts not come out of that?
Well, because that was before we,
Culverts could, but
Okay. Well, I just wanna make sure I'm on the
Yeah.
same, I'm only asking questions because I don't wanna be
if
confused.
we're changing a culvert or doing just a culvert job or something, but if we're doing a project, then it kinda comes out of the project stuff.
Total
No?
stuff, total
That makes
project.
sense.
So,
yeah.
Kind of,
yeah,
Either
no,
way.
kind of, no, it's.
Or like splitting them.
Yeah.
but
yeah,
So-
it makes sense,
right, because you're doing something to preserve.
right.
So Detour Road, this was the paperwork that Russell had that I'd already put together. Was 320. Franklin Pierce is done. So that's checked off.
Okay,
Lake Road,
and just to clarify, Detour Road was a reconstruction.
yes.
Okay.
That was,
And then-
that was 320,000.
Okay,
Lake Road,
But why did you just ask about that's coming, that was something that we're talking about, right? A complete reconstruction on
yeah, because if
Detour
it's
Road.
construction, that's the construction fund. If it's other stuff, then it would be preservation of budget.
Okay,
so
And so-
back 15 years ago when I started doing, well, 18 years, when I've done projects for 18 years, all but 1 year, when they didn't have me do, when COVID, I guess they didn't want me to do a project that year. Because they didn't know if the tax money was coming in. So, other than that, we used to always do 1,500 feet.
Yep,
And at 1,500 feet, they always figured $150,000, because it was $100 per foot, 20-foot road, or 21-foot road. So now,
how much would that amount to now?
oh,
1,500-ish.
1,000, 1,200, 1,000 feet?
No, how much would the 1,500 feet run today?
yeah, how much a foot is it?
Money.
Is that
I added it all in, I did it all the same, and then just added a little bit to it. The way they do it today is.
By project?
No,
Oh,
the cost of the materials, the cost of the tar. So if the tar, okay, let me pick out a job here. Okay, let's go Detour Road. Detour Road, the asphalt is gonna be $150,000. So it's gonna take 20, foot deep. It's gonna take 2,500 yards of material. So that's another 54,000, without even including the culvert. So there's 200,000, so then what they do is they usually just double it. So it's it's 100, it's 200, so it'd be 400,000.
The labor side of things, they double it from the material.
But,
Labor and equipment.
labor and equipment, and that's what I've been told, that's how to do it, but, so I'm at 320, I'm not at 400,000, so I'm kind of old schooling it, but that will work.
Okay, so
You
let's
can only-
go ahead and go down the
So-
rest of the list that you have.
So,
Just so we get them recorded.
I didn't add this all up because it wasn't priority, but Pleasant Street, so go from Long Street to 419 Pleasant Street is where we stopped, down past Fred House.
And this would be preservation at this
No,
point?
construction.
Construction?
So that's 3,900 feet. So you might as well say that would be 400,000.
Okay, what other ones did you have?
And then Pleasant Street to Detour in front of Bill Pearson's, that hill that's 700 feet long. And the asphalt's 40,000, and I didn't add the rest of that all up, so you might as well probably add the gravel, so add another 30 to that. So that's 70. And then Detour Road to Clothespin Bridge Road is 320.
Mhm.
And then Lake Road is 1,800 feet long.
That also construction at this point?
Yep. And that's on, Lake Road is on here for 190 that Russell had from last year. And I came up this year with 180 because I was trying to, so we'll go with 190
Okay,
with that, with the prices that the CIP have. Okay, Lake Road. Okay, Deer Meadow Road, there's 3,000 feet, shim and overlay, this is road preservation. Yeah, RP. So that's gonna start at Windsor Terrace to Bashan Hollow, and it will be done like we just did the last part of the White Plains Road.
yep,
There'll be no, so the tar alone on that is 70,000. And I didn't figure up, then you, I mean, you have to shim it all out, take a couple of days, endure it and all that, so you might as well add another 15 is a pipe that needs to be changed. So let's, that, after the tar, if you add 15 grand in for shimming that and changing that couple of pipes, it's 85,000 for that section. And then Little Hill, from Marty Bender's to Matt Fallon's driveway is 4,100 feet. I've already changed the pipes. After you get to Dublin Lane, out through it, it's just needs to be ground. There's plenty of gravel there. The majority of the work is done there, but down across the flats in front of the Yettons, that lowland and where the road sunk. So I have that before, it's in the road preservations for 420,000, but the work that we've already done, I've got that at 300,000, so I cut 120,000 off in what the CIP have because of the work we did up there last summer, and it's got good, it's good across the flat up top. So So that's, and I haven't even got a number for Winnapocket Road, which is ready for some love.
Would that be preservation or
Yes,
construction?
road preservation.
Okay.
This is just things that have to be done. This isn't things that are
Oh, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
that's what we're asking, yeah.
right.
So this is a good place for us to start, so we actually.
Well,
have
I
some
already had
values
all
and-
this stuff, it's
Yeah.
already, that CIP's had this for over a year,
Okay.
so this is nothing new.
I'm sorry, I didn't, I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm-
no,
I'm
I
sorry,
just,
but- Okay,
so Roby Road, I've got a check off on Roby Road, because we did 500 feet this summer on Roby Road, because I had a little bit of money left over from our other project. So instead of leaving it sitting there doing nothing, we, Alan Jones was kind, he let us cut all them old nasty pine trees and the oaks that laid over the road. And, we asked him about cutting a couple, and he says, why don't you just take them all and get rid of them, and it's done, and it will, and he was pleased how it was done, and Richard George is happy, and,
so what, is that done, or is there other stuff that needs
well,
to be
down
done?
at the bottom where all them pipes come across, but without lifting that road 4 feet and putting major stuff in, the way the water comes down, when that brook turns into a river, the way it's set up, and when Addie was a road agent, we packed a bunch of rocks against that bank. There is a couple of 15 or 18-inch pipes down there. The pipes aren't big enough to take the water that comes down there when that turns into a river, but the water goes up over the road and it works its way into the pipes that go underneath the, without spending stupid money. We could spend our money somewhere else, and then someday if we did get a grant, or,
For water.
huh?
For water. A
Correct.
grant for, yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah, and I would agree with you, I don't.
If that
Okay.
washed away and took the road every time, then I would be concerned, but,
So are there other roads that you have slated for preservation sometime soon?
well, all preservation also is chip sealing, which we usually do $100,000 a year on chip sealing, and Pleasant Street is some of Deer Meadow Road that we did a couple of years ago. Usually what we do with Bruce Davis, with
Yep.
Allstate Asphalt, he recommends to tar it, let it sit and work a year, and then the following year do that. So Corn Hill Road now is a candidate. What we did down by Addie's, that was last summer, so next summer that section will be a candidate. In Concord Drive, Pennycook Circle would be a candidate, and there's some,
Are those ones that would make sense to do next summer, or to wait until 2026? Because I think you just finished one of the roads down in,
no, last summer. Last
yeah,
summer.
yeah, Concord was last summer. What, I'm
No,
thinking,
no.
no, I'm thinking of the other one that's right off it that you just finished by the playground and stuff.
Franklin
I'm
Pierce.
blanking on the name.
Oh, yeah, that's this summer, Concord Drive, Franklin Pierce.
Franklin, thank you.
Yeah, we wouldn't do Franklin Pierce.
Okay.
It would be smart to do it while he was right there, but that's gonna be well over the 100. What I've already named off is gonna be well over the $100,000 mark, and that's where we've been with that. A lot of people like that, I get a lot of comments on it. A lot of them little towns in Pennsylvania that I've been going to hunting, it's big out that way.
Yeah, because you don't necessarily see it a lot around here. You know what I mean?
More and more.
It's coming into it. That's it.
So the ones that, do you have prices for the chip seal for the ones, for the roads that have been identified as good candidates for
I
this
don't
year?
usually get he comes out, he'll come out and measure them, and then when we get to $100,000 worth, that's where we stop.
Okay.
I mean, this year was 99 something.
And which ones did we do this year? It was,
What did we do this year?
yeah, for the chip seal.
Close.
It was
right?
No,
part of it.
we did Clothespin Bridge Road last year.
Last
What
year.
did we do this year? Oh, we did a bunch of Deer Meadow. Did we do Cornhill? No.
Yeah.
God, I don't know, it feels like
Let
you
me,
just did
I
that.
can
I'm
tell you.
sorry.
No,
I'm
it's
just
fine.
trying
I got
to
an
think-
email.
I'm just trying to
It's
think
fine.
distances to like,
Well,
how, if we were to, if, because you mentioned Cornhill, Concord,
Well,
Winnicott.
I don't think, let, Jesus Christ, you'd think that I'd be able to remember, I
Not
walked them
necessarily.
all 100 times. So, we did some on Deer Meadow, couple of the sections.
Mhm.
I gotta look it up, I'm sorry.
I'm just trying to come up with
Correct,
a
but
rough
I do know,
distance, so.
I do know, I just. When did he send us that bill? We had to call looking for it, didn't we, Dana?
Yeah. You want me to go down and get the bill?
No, no, I'll, I was more clever with this stuff, I could,
Don't feel bad. Did it come through as Allstate?
no, it'd be right from Bruce. I was just trying to think without looking.
So how much did we take out of preservation?
192, 745, 28 cents.
One
Nine.
We took it out.
to 745?
Yes.
So we used basically 193K out of preservation.
This year.
Right.
Okay. So, he looks up that. Go back and find.
Our fire truck's all done.
Awesome.
It's getting lettered this week.
We saw an email.
No, I was just, trying to,
Plus,
Mary Bruce Davis, chip seal. By golly, I guess we did do Cornhill Road. 4,275 feet on Cornhill. Oh, Jesus, what did I just do? I just hope I didn't lose it. Okay, Deer Meadow Road, we did 1,580. Oh, no, is this Penny Cook? Okay, yeah, okay, I jumped the gun. Penny Concord Drive is done, 1,800 feet. Penny Cook Circle, 250 feet. And then there was two other little sections. Windsor Terrace to Newport Circle was 402 feet. And Deer Meadow Road, Centennial to Christopher Roberts was 2,222 feet. In the total, was that? Yeah, the total was 80,279 cents.
okay.
So this year, we have in front of Addie's. And that other stuff's, okay, so that is awesome. So we're caught up,
Good, good.
because if we skip in front of Addie's on Pleasant Street, skip that a year, and do that in the White Plains Road the following year, because it's not gonna hurt 2 or 3 years into it. You wait 5 or 6, and then it starts going to pieces, so.
So more or less, the roads that you've paved that don't really need it, there's not a lot of chip sealing needed this year, coming up. But it would be next year, then you would do that, yeah.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yes.
Well, at least it kinda gives you that,
At least it
something with
gives me a better
Yes,
picture.
Yeah.
okay, no, whatever I can do to help.
Um,
Sometimes I don't, I mean, I get balled up and I'm hard to follow.
So I'm gonna ask you to gaze into your crystal ball for a moment.
Yeah,
We've got the amount that's been like used in budget and stuff so far, et cetera. I know that you've been doing a bunch of stuff preparing for winter, et cetera. What are you kind of expecting for budgeting amount for the rest of this year? Obviously, you don't know whether you're gonna have a major snowstorm and lots of plowing, but like just
Well,
a
right-
general average at this
well,
point.
right now, we're down to the pit,
Mhm.
because I asked you guys about getting about blasting down there. Well, I can't get a price on blasting until it's uncovered.
Right.
So, I've got a bunch of that uncovered. I broke up a bunch of rock, the rock to get to it. And actually, we've been crushing. We crushed down there Friday and half a day Friday and today. So that will give us material there if we do have a mud season or material to work with that's in town, because you add up what we spent it, I mean, not that they don't give us a good deal at GMI, because they treat us more than fair, but,
You gotta get there and get back.
and it's all of an hour. So I don't know offhand how many thousands of dollars. I know we spent, I think it was 25 or 30 grand last mud season in 4 days out of there with rock. So, that's where I'm at. I'm gonna clean that pit up. I'm gonna make some material, because there was 50 grand the other day in there for winter. And if we don't get any more snow this winter than we have the last 3, I'm probably gonna sell my snowplow trucks.
To hire out when you need somebody, no?
They can buy snowshoes. No, the last 2 winters, if not 3 winters, we haven't plowed enough snow to even pay for the insurance of the registrations on them.
No, that's true. But when you do that, then we'll have all kinds of snow, that's
So,
kiss of death right there.
Yeah, so I wish I had the crystal ball. The stuff that I've been watching, it says, don't worry about plowing much snow, but make sure your sand and your salt pile's full, because we were gonna have a lot of wet, nasty, cold, on and off, hot and cold weather, and that's,
so from now through the end of this year, which is basically a month now, roughly how much more do you expect that you'll probably be spending?
spend it all, it's all gonna be gone.
Okay.
Between making material, because you have the material at the pit, it's money in the bank.
Doesn't go bad, exactly, it's
And-
gonna stay there.
That salt shed will take 4 loads of salt to top that off, and, yeah, I don't plan on a cent being left in that budget.
Okay. So, that puts us at the way to put this in the perspective of how we were trying to do things. With a total of 559K used currently today, about another 40K that will be used in finishing everything up and unpaid bills, et cetera, for the stuff that he's cities
Right,
already
I got
doing the
cutting edges to
crushing
get.
and so on. So with that, we're looking at approximately 599,000 that will be used this year out of budget and preservation, just budget and preservation. And the way we had talked about that was to have the budget be the majority and preservation be the overflow. Obviously, more has come out of preservation than was expected when we did that for the budget portion, but that gives us what that total is. The current sitting in the budget portion is 408,000. And so if we were trying to do this in a similar manner, but knowing that the 100,000 for chip seal was not expected this year, maybe that 490, yeah, basically 499 instead of 599. So the budget is still gonna be short. So if we were to say the budget should be around 450 total, which his request was about a 12K increase, not a 32K increase, for the 5% on only the operating portion. But if we were to say that that would be about 450, that would probably get us pretty close to what we would want with everything in the operating budget, using just a little of overage coming from preservation.
So let me ask a question now. I haven't been writing all this down, but how much less is that from last year? Not what I spent, but what was raised to spend.
So
I think it's gonna be quite a bit.
it would basically be the entire budget, you're expecting to have that done. So the budget amount of 408,000, and then it would be the amount that was put into preservation, which I think was only 100.
Yeah.
So it was 508 that was put in, and we've used almost 600.
So you're gonna put 100 into road preservation, but nothing into road construction?
No, the road construction.
Is okay, all right.
I'm leaving road construction to CIP.
All right, help me, yeah, okay, all right.
So everything that I've talked about for KQC
Okay, all right.
is not construction.
Okay, all right, if I didn't ask, I would, I
Yeah.
just wanna understand,
Yeah.
so when I go out of here tonight,
Yeah.
I know where
So
I'm at.
I'm trying to base these on what you're doing and what you've been and how it's working, so that, because I don't want to make it like, oh, there's not enough here.
Well, the only reason we only put 100,000 in road preservation last year is because we had money left over from the year that
Right.
Bruce didn't let me do a job, and there was some money left over, and then we played catch-up with that, but $100,000 in road preservation, I mean, you chip seal, that's gone. Road preservation, when we set that road preservation up, that was to gravel roads in the summer. The roads, the dirt roads in the summer lose 1 inch of gravel in one
Yep.
cycle. So you
so-
don't put any gravel on them for 4 or 5 years, there's 5 inches of dirt.
So all of that should be in our normal budget, because it's something that you're doing every year.
Well, that isn't how, I mean, maybe now, but that
Yeah,
isn't how it was
that's
in
what
the
we're trying
past.
to do, so that
So-
things are more accurately reflected.
So, and then, I mean, we're not gonna do any chip sealing, because we don't have candidates for that, but that,
How much is in preservation right now?
77,000, unless we've taken some out
Okay.
since, did we take that, have we been taking my bills out of preservation or out of the general?
We have been taking it out of preservation.
Okay, so how much is in there now then? So
Well,
there'll be
let's
less.
see. Let me find the answer to that.
And
There's
then-
5,000.
Then we're gonna have to stop this and jump on the call with Hopkinton.
There's $4,500 should be left in road construction. And as of 2 weeks ago, there was $77,713 in road preservation, but I've been using that at the pit.
I don't have the exact figure, but I think it's about 135,000 left.
No,
Well, I've got it downstairs, I don't have my whole
That-
stuff with me.
Okay.
I wish there was,
Yeah, I
But
wish
it-
it was too, but,
but there ain't.
Suffice it to say, it's definitely gonna be over 50K that's left in preservation.
oh, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Over
Okay.
50K, you said?
Yeah.
No, 150?
No, over 50K.
Yeah.
50,000.
I just re-asked that because I thought I said 100.
So, okay.
I wish there was. Because one of the ladies here the other night was trying to tell me I had 200 and something thousand dollars in the bank on road construction, and I'm, well, I wish I did. Where is it?
Well, there was at one point,
Sure
but it
was.
got used. Okay. So. The preservation projects that you've mentioned, you've done similar types of projects this year, correct, or no?
What do you
So you mentioned, for example, the shimming and stuff on,
White Plains Road.
Deer
Recording
Meadow
in
for,
progress.
Windsor to Bashan.
Yeah, oh, that's chip sealing.
And then, okay,
That was all chip sealed, all them streets I named off.
oh, you told us that you needed to do that for preservation with shim and overlay. from
No,
between
I
Windsor
was,
and Bashan.
I thought it needed to be done, I had to, I
Okay,
had
so
to
that
read.
one's been done.
Yes, they've been
Perfect.
done. All the ones I named off down there, I was wrong.
Okay. Okay. So you were doing those already this year?
They're done.
Okay. So that amount will continue to allow them to do approximately that amount towards any roads as needed. I think we have a reasonable total figure, and then we would just need to work on figuring out where line items, how much is in budget versus preservation funds, et cetera. And as much as I'd love to continue down that path.
I
So that
understand.
we don't have mistakes or misclarifications later, we do have to meet with Hopkinton in about 10 seconds.
Dave, can you help me get this software?
I think, yeah.
In theory, that thing is
We ran out
set
of,
up.
ding, 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 ding,
No, it's
dong.
all good. We'll get through it. And if you have any other
Are plugged in
questions,
with
Dana. If they have any other questions, let Dana know, and Dana will
Okay.
get a hold of me, and,
I want you to ask for nice, easy winters.
working
How's that?
What is easy? Slimy,
have a different one
rainy
of these?
Yeah.
frozenness is not easy.
I don't,
I think snow's easier sometimes.
it's not that whatever, but in the winter, if it doesn't snow,
this thing.
you gotta do something else to pay the bills, or you're not gonna be here in the spring. So, and it takes 2 good snowstorms a week to keep everything going.
Really?
Yeah, other than that, you gotta work somewhere else, which is fine, but it's just hard in the winter because I don't plan a lot of work
It wouldn't be
in the
that
winter.
button on top of the
Because if
stage.
you do, and you get a lot of snow, you gotta be here to plow snow, and then you got people mad at you.
Okay.
So now,
So it's kind of
There
a
we go.
hard
It's
one.
hard
Connected.
because you're in
so
the
now
middle.
we should be
Where
able to do
does snow plowing
this.
fall under which account?
General maintenance.
Except,
But you know,
this isn't showing.
back when we
outputs
first
to
started,
this. So you may need to
a
adjust.
house lot
In here.
was
Okay.
35,000.
Such
There's
as.
people today that won't even go look at them unless they're 85,000, so 85, you add that up, all I gotta do is 3.5 house lots, a septic system, a cellar hole, in a driveway, and this over the budget, what I get all year long to take, well, and I don't get it all, a lot of it goes out of town.
Yeah.
Material.
Things are different, that's for sure.
So,
So, the weather's different, I swear, by climate change, because I can see it. I
2
remember
months,
Huh?
2 months, you can do them 4 house lots in 2 months, and you can go fishing the rest.
There we go.
Yeah, that's true.
No,
That's true.
I mean, that's why Bonnie gave it up.
I had to go
Bonnie
into
said, I'd
this
make more money
notice.
digging a cellar hole than
Oh, okay.
There you go.
dealing
Well, I
with
think
these.
you've
Thank you
got,
very
I
much.
think you've got money, you know, but
Oh, no.
I think at the end of the day, to me, it's still just
Okay.
where it comes from.
Yeah,
And just
Right,
having
right.
a plan, and I,
So I think
No,
we've
otherwise.
got good notes, and we can try to come up with solutions and then talk with you about them.
yeah, well, thank you for listening to
very
me,
much.
and whatever I can do to help, and
We'll have a good dinner.
If you wanna see it that way, yeah, we should move
I have
over there.
eyeballs, you know,
All
right there.
right.
Okay.
yes, she's a mama,
We'll-
she's
we'll
got
work it
eyes
over
in the
here.
back of her head, she can see what's happening.
Either that or
Okay.
they got my number. I'm not sure who's in charge anymore these days.
All right.
Somebody asked me the other day about something, I said, well, talk to the boss, he's in the excavator.
I'll go over this way.
Yeah, right.
Now, I'm not sure.
Can they see us?
Good afternoon, can you see us? Apparently not.
That lady said Zoom and I never turned my camera on.
Oh, so we're sitting over there?
Yeah, 'cause
Stone come spring. All right, it belongs
you
here.
know what? He's got the laptop there. Why don't we go over on that side so we're closer to the laptop and they'll actually see us.
They're not really seeing us at the moment.
Do we have to?
Surprise, surprise.
What do you want?
Does this fill in the CIP? Is what? Does this fill in the CIP committee? It does.
You're gonna have people flying in?
I don't know.
Who's gonna, you be on camera. I'll be over here in the corner. Where's the corner?
No, she's not here now. Town clerk's not here now.
No, she's here.
She's here?
Till late. Till late.
Yeah, tonight,
doing,
she's not
Ron?
here now. I don't think she doesn't stay all
Let's see.
all day, does she?
She comes back at 4:30.
Oh, it's 4:30. I'll be right back. Okay, good.
Mike Mobius, there's 3 of you signed.
This is this.
Yeah.
Captions.
Dave Feller is the chair. Jim Fredima, Don Houston, and Bill Palazzolo.
I don't think you've got your camera.
Bill Palazzolo, the senior chair.
Oh, there you are, Dave. Now you can keep it right there. Fine with that.
You just need to make sure that it actually runs. Because it was, it's,
Yeah.
we don't have an option to. Speakers, yeah. We,
Wednesday, you have to do?
can you hear us? No.
I'll call you at 2 to see if you're still probably not.
You're just like the flakes seem to be related child-related flavors.
So,
We might be adding meningitis to the list tomorrow, so we'll see how it goes.
we are not,
Have we asked them where they get the chairs?
I think we should just call them.
Oh, fine. Oh, I even like that better.
Okay, all right.
So now what do you want us
Yeah,
to
just call them. I mean, I can try to.
Well, now I have to see
Open
if I
late.
can figure that out.
do? We're leaving more day.
Oh, there we go. The host would like you to promote you to a panelist. There we go. Then you can unmute.
Yeah,
Okay.
see, that's because we weren't joined.
It was there.
Because they hadn't asked us, because they hadn't
Yeah,
asked
because
us.
they hadn't set us
Oh, that
up.
is me sometimes, oh my
You
god.
can now unmute.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, can you hear us now? Well, it shows that we're muted.
Oh yeah, with the little thingy thing. Yeah.
Okay, can you hear us now?
And Webster's with us.
Oh, there it
Yes,
is
we
on
can.
there.
All second.
Perfect, thank you.
All right, all those in favor? Aye. Next is approval of the
Perfect.
minutes.
That's good. Yeah, that's good. That's fine. I'll just jump in if I need to.
I'll sit over here.
I know I don't look like I do on camera.
Not sealed.
Second.
Where's Russell when I need him?
Well, that's happened to me. You know, when they're like, I'm like, what am I doing wrong? And then they
For
finally let
budget
me in.
issues is our
I
joint
know.
meeting with the Webster Select Board. Hello, Webster.
Hello. Hopefully you can still hear us.
We can.
We can. Can you hear us okay?
Yes. I'm sitting here, Dave Hemingway, Chair of the Select Board. Just to my side is Marlo, and Dee will be back in one
We can
moment.
get going.
But carry on.
All right. So we have Dan Blanchett with us, who's the head of our DPW, to talk about the transfer station.
I'll share the budget.
You wanna do this stuff first, with budget?
That's its next.
So other than fast transport, all the increases are fairly minor, just trying to cover costs of like office supplies and the computer services. Anyone have any questions on the budget?
Dan, the demolition tipping fees, the expense year to date, I guess through the end of October is 58,000, or about 58% of the budget. Is that just a timing thing that you expect by year end it's going to be pretty much up to the 99,000 budgeted?
It should come close, it depends on how much comes in. We try to put the budget up to what we expect to come in, but it could be more, it could be less.
But the 99 you're saying is, at this point, is as good a guess as any?
Yes.
Okay.
Right in front of us right now, with the electricity going up 53%, what is driving that expectation?
Copy all that.
The electricity, you've got it 15,300.
I don't remember setting the electricity.
It's like we're at 11,000 now.
Other than a month ago.
So you're not sure. I can go back and check that one.
On the personnel, so there's currently 3 full-time, 2 part-time. In an ideal world running the transfer station, is that the right number, or is?
That's a tough question because it depends on who you have working. And currently, we only have 3 full-time, 1 part-time.
Yeah,
So we are short-staffed at this moment.
got it. If we did have the 3 and the 2, is that the right amount?
I think it would be okay,
Okay,
unless you start checking dump stickers, stuff like that, and we're gonna need more.
okay.
Are you thinking, would it be better to have like 4 full-time, 1 part-time, or do you think this divide, splitting up, makes sense?
Well, the part-timers put quite a few hours in, so I'm just looking at cost savings. You know, hire a full-time employee, and I get the benefits and everything else, so trying to keep costs low, I would rather go with the 2 part-timers. But it may come to the point where you can't find a part-timer.
The people who are on full-time now, they've been there for a while, right?
2 of them, yes. Been there for quite some time. The 3rd one just started a year and a half ago.
So I notice in here that you're showing the solid waste cleanup down there at a negative percentage. And how are we to look at and resolve that versus the PFAS cleanup versus other similar items?
Sure, I actually did that one. So the engineering services we've largely finished paying for leading up to it. So any costs beyond that would be part of the bond. This will finish the engineering part, so we didn't need to budget that this year, this 2025. And there still is engineering fees for the ongoing monitoring, which is the 4325 390. That's the regular monitoring of all the wells that Novus has been doing for lots of years.
And the bond cost you're referring to here in the capital reserve, the expenses for that.
The bond is the separate bond, right, for the cleanup.
But the short term, the bridge loan cost.
That would be construction, yes.
You've mentioned at one of the meetings that the revenues went up after changes. How is that looking? How is that projected for a rise compared to the rise in budget?
You can see that already.
Yeah, I'll sit there. Okay, I'll be there in just 1 second.
Can you see that okay? It's always small. So we've got, we're budgeting it at 200,000 versus the 140 from last year, based on what we've seen change since August. And that largely is because of the fee changes, so.
And I believe, Neil, that the suggested changes you provided to us would push that up to 216.
Okay, did I update that after? So actually, it looks like we projected it at 216. We can.
Since we're doing that, the next line item, the recycling revenues, I believe you put that up to 50.
Okay, after we receive more information. Sorry about that. Yes. So actually, 216 on the landfill commercial and 50 on the recycling revenue.
And not that Webster would be impacted, but the pay-by-bag revenues.
That's not on here. We're not, that's separate.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Neil, in the past you've mentioned that the septage from your sewer system would be joining in for the PFAS mitigation portions. What has been figured for the amount of revenue that would show up into the transfer station from transporting that over to the transfer station from your sewer systems, or that would not be included in the bonding portion for the transfer station?
So we're still, unfortunately, waiting for the engineering numbers to get that a little closer, but I think when we talked, we budgeted probably Webster's share was 100,000, which makes the total about 400,000 are our estimates. Which I think is what, when you were setting your tax rate, I think we talked about too. Is that about what you used?
Yeah.
Dana says yes.
Okay, perfect. Yes, I don't have any better, I wish I had better numbers. As soon as we get those, I've been calling, trying to get that updated.
You know, it sounds like there might be an echo on the feed when Webster talks. I don't know if there's anything we can do because I don't hear it here, but.
All right. I can turn this set down a little.
No, it's the speaker system, the way we have it hooked up here, because we hear ourselves back through a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
And since the change in the fees and the green bags enforcement issue, has recycling grown, decreased, stayed the same?
I have to ask Colleen about that, what she's noticed so far. We're not gonna have a lot of those numbers in yet either.
I was just looking for, does it look like, this or that? But, okay.
We're running pretty close to budget, so it looks like we're running on, but we'd have to do a much deeper analysis.
Would it be fair to say that if you rescind your green bags, like I think you were planning to put forth last time I looked, if that were to happen, would revenues go up further for the transfer station since everything would get charged instead of some of it going to the bag fund instead of into the transfer station?
Probably not, because most everything that goes in the green bags there's no charge for. It's residential trash. So I wouldn't guess it would be much of a change.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
And the household recycling, as shown on the explanation sheet, is showing a 6% increase over 2023 for estimating it for this year, and another 6% increase estimated for the following year. So I assume whoever put those 6 percentage points there had some kind of feel.
That would be Julie. And maybe, if that's what is trending, then that's,
Okay.
So not having the numbers straight in front of me, because I'm sitting in front of the Zoom computer, what is the net expectation since both the budget and the revenues are expected to go up?
We could put that together, what the net is. I don't have that on my sheet either. Like the revenue minus the, I could get that. I don't have my budget.
Any other transfer station questions or budget questions for this?
If I'm looking at it properly, I believe revenues is, against what Neil has provided as updated estimates, would be going up about $94,000. And the transfer station operating budget total would be going up about $12,000.
Thank you for those numbers. I know that you've mentioned different types of ways that you want to look at stickers. Is that expected to, if there's a change, pay for itself and just be within the stickers? Or is that also considered as part of a transfer station budget? And if so, is that included here or not?
There's nothing accounted for any potential change.
I believe last time we talked about it, decided that we should maybe do quick stickers, but we have the ability to do sticker changes in the future without changing much of any of the current ordinances. But I believe the last time we talked about it, the decision was to not do anything in the near term with stickers.
Partly waiting for the vote on the pay by bag, and then looking at if it was going to be looked at, it would be after that, after town meeting. I think the transfer station itself, minus the transfer station revenues, the total nets out at about 554,000, just under that. I think that was your.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you have anything, Dana?
No, I think I was just curious what the
And
figure
capital,
was,
want to do
25% of that is our share, right?
transfer station capital, which doesn't have much coming up this year.
I assume all of that information had gotten over to our CIP?
It's all been sent to you, yes.
There we go.
Really, the two things over the next 6 years are the brush area. Maybe Dan wants to talk a little bit more about that, because that's something new. The trailer replacement, and then in 26, and the loader replacement in 27. So those are and then kind of the recycling building is floating out there, but pushed out until there's more plan.
Just say what's going on in recycling.
Yeah.
When it was first proposed, a lot of feedback, people saying they didn't think we needed it, but the recycling wasn't trending, like it was gonna keep happening. So as far as the brush area rehab, where the brush and compost has never been made into a usable area, and it's all sand. So with the environment at the transfer station, you can't just run regular air-filled tires because of all the nails and chunks of metal. We tried it once and it lasted about a month. And so when you foam fill or get solid tires, you lose traction because it's not giving to the ground, and it makes it very difficult for them to move the brush, turn the compost, etc. So current bins, the hot top is all breaking up, so the concrete blocks need to be removed, the old pavement removed, new pavement put down, blocks set back up, and 6 to 8 inches of crushed gravel in that entire area installed, so they can actually move around.
And that sounds like that would be a good opportunity to reuse well, let me back up for a second. For the crushed gravel, is that expected to be the surface, or is that expected to go underneath the tarp?
The crushed gravel will be the main surface. The only pavement will be under the bins, so they can get in without scooping dirt up to get compost or cat waste or brush.
And what do they do now? It's just a pain with the wheels, and they just not do it.
Yeah, they can't like dig into anything, and when you go to turn compost, the tires just spin. So they're getting like a quarter of a bucket at a time, so it takes twice as long to do what they need to do.
So this would allow the employees to be more productive. Would it also provide any additional revenues?
No.
Remind me of what happens to that brush once it's scooped out.
So they scoop up the brush, they take it out of the area, away from the public, and stockpile it. Then we have Chuck Rose Incorporated comes in with a grinder, grinds it up, and takes the chips away.
And we don't get any revenue from that. It's just the
It
same.
does it for nothing. I'm gonna discuss that at 6 o'clock.
Any further budget questions or capital questions?
On the recycling building rebuild, that kind of seems like it constantly comes up in conversations, and the vertical baler. But on this plan, it kind of seems like it's just past the horizon. In terms of the age of the building, like how much realistic time do we have on that building before it's not functional?
That's a tough question, because the way that it was built, it's a wood structure pole barn building. And when they go in to scoop the material up, they're cycling to bring it over to the baler, it's constantly pushing on the building. So it could be next year, it could be 10 years. The lean-to building that was behind the recycling area, we just tore down. And that had 3 broken posts. The roof had leaked at some point, and one of the wood up top was rotted. So I can't give you a timeline.
Yeah, fair. And then the room next to the recycling, it's attached to where the baler is?
That's newer.
Okay, but it is part of the same building though, right?
Yes and no, it was built separately. You could
You could do them separate.
take,
Okay.
yes. You could take the recycling area off.
Got it. Okay.
If you redid it, design it in the most efficient way, as well as set it up so you're not pushing on the walls, that you design it for what it was used for, which I think
Would it have to be designed really differently to do a vertical baler? Is that completely separate?
I think you're thinking of a horizontal baler.
Right.
Yeah. Yes, you'd have to make it so you could drive in and dump the material into the baler.
Okay.
So the baling room would have to get redesigned as well. I don't think there's enough room to put one of those in there and be able to maneuver.
Yeah.
That's a large flow of recycling to use one of those. If we're still doing paper, I would say, yes, let's go for it. Because paper used to take me over an hour to do a bale in the vertical baler.
Yeah.
And if you could just dump it in, and it would be a lot easier.
Okay. It's better now?
They don't bale the paper anymore. It gets dumped right into the back of a tractor trailer.
Right. Okay.
It would definitely speed up plastic baling, but I think they're pretty well keeping up with it.
Anything else?
Not for me.
Well, I think that covers our questions for this, and I believe it was 6 o'clock.
6 for the public hearing.
Was the
yeah.
public hearing time, which we are coming to, though we don't have any public here, so.
Nothing with community well, you guys are good with that?
Was there anything you wanted to point out about it? Or that was
No,
big change?
I only had an increase in the electricity because it's heated by electricity, so.
right, so we can,
There's no public here either.
we have 3 people online, present, physically. Alright, so it's our public hearing on,
All around the thing.
transfer station fees.
Since you have the majority of the attendees, I'll let you go ahead and present the changes.
That's more down on, good with that.
Okay, great.
Let me just get it shared.
So Jolene requested that we move the tires passenger car down to $5. Because it costs $4.50 to get rid of them, and people are taking them home.
Yeah, well, that is on here.
Oh, it is changed.
Yeah. Oh, like people were showing up, not paying it, taking them home.
Yes, and then they end up on the side of the road, because then I pick them up. The other thing is the brush. We would like to get rid of the fees for the brush. I called Chuck Rose Inc., and he said he would not charge us if we were not charging to get rid of the brush. Any large loads that come in get sent over to him anyway. Jolene tries to have them bring it over to him so they don't have to deal with it.
So you're saying to remove all of brush and stumps completely?
All the brush and stumps. So brush and stumps used to be separated because we burned the brush, and you cannot burn anything over 5 inches. So technically now it's all one unit. It's all the same thing. There's no longer any need to separate it because it is getting ground up, not burnt anymore.
If once it's ground up, does Chuck Rose take it?
Yep.
Do you have any questions for him about competition?
What kind of an impact would that have
I don't know
on
how he does it.
projected revenues?
That I don't know.
They wanna take these off, right?
Yeah, they're saying get rid of it entirely.
What if he changes his
I
mind?
don't know if Chuck's gonna start charging
Yeah.
us if we start charging to get rid of it. But my opinion is just take it out.
I'm just wondering in terms of order of magnitude, should we be reducing the revenues coming from the transfer station?
Or should we be paying Chuck Rose what we're collecting? Because the only potential problem I see is if he decides he no longer wants to do it. And then we do have to deal with the brush.
And then at that point, we start charging for it.
But we can if it's not in this ordinance. So if we take it out of this, and then he stops doing it, and we do need to get rid of it, we would have a pretty significant delay in having the ability to charge for it.
So can we keep it in there and just not charge people until we get charged for it?
We could probably do the same thing that we do with like metal, which is to have it listed, but as no current charge.
But then we can't charge for it if we need to.
I thought we were gonna revisit the prices every year, adjust accordingly.
Yeah, right, but if tomorrow Chuck said, my truck broke down, I can't do this anymore, and then we would be stuck collecting it with no
Oh, there's more people.
revenue to offset getting rid of it.
How often does he come?
Once a year usually.
Got it.
So it's just a massive pile and he comes and deals with it. Oh, okay.
So the easiest thing to do would be to say no charge, but keep it in the schedule, just change it to no charge.
Just like metal is below it.
It might,
Did you just say that?
it might be worth having, sorry.
I was just saying, because if it, as long as it exists, even if it's for no charge, all we need is another public hearing like this to change it if suddenly there is a charge for it.
Would you be opposed to keeping the one on larger vehicles and trailers?
No, because those are the ones Jolene sends over to him anyway.
Yeah. I think it'd be worth doing that, because otherwise, like, our ordinance would technically say someone could show up with a train of trailers and just dump stuff.
That's fine.
Which they, I mean, they probably won't, but they could.
So you're suggesting only anything larger than a 1-ton truck or trailer less than 8 feet. We can figure this out so it's clear. It's really that last line, leave that any large vehicle trailer $30 and we'll just put no charge on the other two.
Or we could say any loads larger than 2 tons would be $20 a ton. And that way, I mean, anything that would normally be coming in, there wouldn't be any part of it. Anything larger than that, we have a set fee for. Unless you think that's too.
I would go by the size
The
of
size of the truck.
Yeah, when we were talking at the joint meeting with Jolene there, she wanted to go back to the sizes of the vehicles because that was far easier to quickly charge and let them go on their way. So if we're gonna do this that way, I think it would be just leave the $30 per load on it. The larger and the other two would be listed as no charge.
Yep.
Does that sound okay?
that sounds fine.
That's fine.
Because anything over 1 ton is a dump truck, 6-wheel dump truck, or larger.
As long as you can.
And, I mean, she can use her judgment on the trailers less than 8 feet too. You know, if someone comes in with a trailer dump, you know, a tow behind dumping trailer, that's 10 feet, and they get a little load of brush, and that's all they bring in, I wouldn't charge them.
Yeah, because again, the purpose of it is so that we do have a fee, so that if a large thing comes in, not so that we have to charge.
Yeah, this will start charging people for bringing in, if they bring in a dump truck and won't bring it over to his grinding yard.
Yeah.
Make them pay. I'm good with that.
And you mentioned the tires already, the 2 TV televisions were removed, and then there is a first 100 pounds per week exception was put back in from the discussion last time.
Does that make sense?
100 pounds?
Yeah.
On that note, does it specify what the 100 pounds are for? Like, is that marked to an asterisk somewhere?
I think it's for everything, isn't it? Should be.
Yeah, it's largely unless it's listed here, it ends up largely being demolition. We used to have a 400 pound.
No, I'm just, like, is that, the note could be interpreted as, like, also applying to refrigerators? Or,
But those are charged per piece, aren't they?
yeah, but the note just says there's an exemption for the first 100 pounds per week.
No, I think, like Neil said, that's for the stuff that gets weighed out.
No, I definitely agree with that. I'm just saying the note doesn't specify that.
Looks like the only thing weighed out is construction debris, so should we just add 100 pound for construction debris?
We also want to apply to the tipping fee though,
For that
right?
tipping,
Yeah, try.
right.
So, should we just say in the note, there's an exception for the first 100 pounds per week of commercial, residential, and construction debris?
Of weighed
Yeah,
items.
Of weighed items.
Good, they said it.
That way if someone argues, you say, well, it's not a weighed item, a tire isn't a weighed item, it's $5.
Remind me why we have the exception? Just can't remember now.
$100
The 100 pounds.
because Jolene was getting people writing checks for like 50 cents, and stuff like that.
Oh, I see.
Like if you go bring out your chair,
Right,
or
okay,
a large
gotcha.
file or something.
Okay. I just couldn't remember.
I'm just sending her a text right now, to make sure the 100 was okay. 'Cause it used to be 400 pounds.
Yeah, she was part of this discussion.
She was, okay.
Yeah. I think the 400 was taken out on purpose, but 0 was,
Yeah,
too
a
low.
little.
If Webster doesn't have any comments, we have more people all of a sudden. If anyone online, because we have no one with us in person, would like to ask a question or make a comment, you can raise your hand.
It's just-
We still
This
have
is
no
for the
present public.
hearing. You have no one, okay. Yeah, we have no one physically in the room with us either. Okay. Well, see, Alyssa has a hand up.
You should be able to there you go.
Hey guys,
Hi.
how's it going? Sorry I'm not there in person.
It's okay.
I'm curious, I'm not opposed at all to the change with brush, but I'm curious what it caused the suggested changes. Is it that Chuck Rose said they wanted to do this? Are you intuiting that they might want to charge us in the future? Like, where is it coming from?
No, I called him, because we haven't got a bill from him. I asked him if he's gonna start charging us, and he said no. Unless we keep that bill, that cost in there.
How long has he been doing this? Because if we've been charging people this whole time, has he been doing this whole time? Like, what changed at this moment in time?
This is the price on the brush and stumps is a change on a change, right? Because we went through the entire transfer fee schedule, made a bunch of changes, including changes to the brush and stumps. And then it's been a couple months since those changes went in. And now this is kind of like a readjustment on those changes based on how everything's been going.
Right, so historically we weren't doing $10 a load for a passenger truck. That was something new that we added. Alyssa, part of the process that's been going on for months now. I guess this was back in the spring and summer when we worked on it with Webster. So,
It took effect August 1st.
right. So I think historically it had been no charge for brush, and Chuck Rose was coming in and grinding it up free of charge, and that's how it's been. And then we sort of, I wasn't totally aware of that, so then we made these changes to add a charge for the brush loads, and now we're recalibrating, and the feedback is best to just not charge for those and keep the system we had, which is Chuck Rose comes in once a year to grind it all up free of charge.
Thank you. That context is super helpful.
No problem.
Okay, that was my only question for now.
Thank you.
There are no other hands raised.
Amanda?
Oh,
Hi, I apologize. Amanda Gilman, 168 West Ridge Circle. I'm tuning in late, so if this is late to the party, I apologize. But I'm looking ahead at the fiscal concerns that we have. And I'm thinking that while this is small potatoes, charging for brush, if we have a business owner who's willing to donate his time right now and grind it up for us, keep the fee for the brush the same, it's nominal. And to me, it's an opportunity to recoup a little bit of money when we're so far behind. I realize it's not gonna get us where we need to be, but just food for thought. Thank you.
I'm not gonna talk for Chuck Rose, but if we start charging, he could possibly start charging us.
Could we have that conversation with Chuck Rose?
We could.
I would imagine, well, no, I'm not gonna speak for him either. Just food for thought, that's all. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, so I don't know if you heard the whole earlier conversation with Dan, but we were talking about keeping the charge on here for much larger loads. And I think the discussion was, as long as this is on the fee schedule, if we at a later point in time decide we do want to start charging for the smaller loads, we can just, after we have to have a public hearing, we can just sort of adjust it pretty quickly. So I think landing in a spot for, I think, ease of, staff, and just that we've had this arrangement with Chuck, I think, for a while. But yes, thank you, Amanda, for the comments, looking everywhere we can to increase revenue. Alright, last call for online hand raising. Okay, then we can close the public hearing. And we need to take a vote.
Yeah,
Anything
both
you wanna
boards
say before
vote
they
to
do a
adopt
The updated.
the
Anything
updated
you wanna
as
say before they
amended
do a
tonight.
vote on the updates?
Sounds good to me.
We are ready for that?
Don't you want to see the vote? I'm just kidding.
Thank you, Dan.
Dan, we appreciate it. So wait, joint motion, joint vote.
Yeah, you'll vote in separate places, but the motion should probably be the same.
Okay. And you want to make that motion for us?
I'll move that we approve the, as amended this evening's fee schedule for the transfer station fees.
I'll second.
Okay. All right, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
It's us. Are you guys going to separately vote?
Sure, we will go ahead and do that on this as well, so that you have record to immediately do any changes. I would move that we accept the fees as presented,
Second.
seconded by Dee Blake, and we'll do a roll call. Dave Hemingway, yes?
Yes, Dee Blake, yes.
Marlo Herrick, yes.
And that is unanimous.
All right, great. Thank you, guys.
All right, and that will take effect Sunday, so Monday.
Is it that quick, or is it a 30-day lag like last time?
I will confirm that, but I think the fees are not a 30-day lag, just ordinance changes.
Okay, thank you very much.
But I'll make sure and confirm.
All right, anything else further for them?
Okay. So,
I believe that's it. Do you have anything else further for us?
I don't think so. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good rest of your meeting.
Have a good Thanksgiving.
Bye.
Okay. Some slight hiccups, but we made it. All right. We'll go back over here now. Give Dana his computer back.
Wow, are we done? We have to end the meeting?
Let's see. So that's good. They were expecting their revenues to go up fairly significantly compared to the budget increases. So that should yield good results for us. Let's see. So that was the transfer station, and then the fees. So that pretty much takes care of that. Did we want to discuss any further on budget or try to come up with figures that might make sense to be presented to and discussed with Emmett so that everybody has a good starting point? If you want to look at other portions of the budget so that Dana knew who to ask back if we wanted to discuss anything further with others. And did you want to talk about the tax stuff, I believe?
I did, yes.
So why don't we start with taxes? And then we can move into the budget if people would like.
So the tax rate, if we don't use any of the fund balance, the rate would increase by 65 cents. We're at I think it's 10.47. Your policy that you did last year, you mentioned between 10 and 12, is what you'd like to maintain for a fund balance.
How much of the increase is us versus other?
We are, the majority of the increase, 64 cents. The county is up 2, local
2 cents.
education's up 7, state is down 8, for an overall total of 65.
So we are up 62 cents.
We're up 64. And because, you know, our increase is a little over 200,000 from the previous year that we're raising.
Where was that
All
major
right.
extra? Now I have to go see where the major, sure, it must have been in funds, but.
Well, that's what I was gonna ask, where it's up to 200,000.
The tax effort is $1,000,000.
Is that
78.
taking what he gave us for numbers?
No, this is the 2024 year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is
So it's
24.
what we've already gone through town meeting,
Okay.
budgeted, et cetera.
And I guess I should open this up and see, cause I don't know right now where it is either.
Let's see.
Maybe I'm wrong, that would be a good thing.
Well, this stuff has moved. So not all of the stuff still works. So 23 to 24. Oh, we got a lot less revenue. Where was the huge revenue? Oh.
Well,
Because that's not
the revenue's
filled in
hard to
for-
judge,
Because that's not filled in for
Yeah.
Meals and Rooms.
right? There's a lot of revenue in December.
Which isn't counted in the 64
So-
cent increase for
Correct.
Webster.
So if that were there, then that would be
Yeah.
7, be almost it would still be about 100, almost 190K short compared to the previous year for revenues.
Hmm.
So that's approximately that 200K
Yeah,
difference, so it's mostly revenues, it's not budget. And that makes sense because there was,
Well, yeah.
there was, for example, the highway block grant was the doubling the previous year, because they passed that extra bill that said we're gonna give the extra revenues back as block grant style. So the block grant was about 132, and this time it was about 72. So things like that are in there.
and the worst, I mean, it's not the worst case scenario, but with your December, which is usually your high revenue month, because you'll have room and meals, et cetera, that ends up in fund balance.
The other major one is, in the previous year, we recorded a fair amount in sale of municipal property, which we did not have this year. So those two together are
About the
150K or so, plus whatever we are expecting out of Meals and Rooms. So Yeah, most of the change then is lost revenue as opposed to increased budget. Though, let's see, warrant articles was 23 to 24. We were up and, sorry, we were down and down. And then expenditures. Oh, that's just showing 1 year. Probably have to go into this. Yeah, so I could look at this year's versus last, but we're missing the 23 now. But
So how, are you, catch me up a little bit, we're talking about this, but we're kind of guessing. 'Cause we don't, we know that revenues are down, we are the 200, I'm just rounding, 200 shortfall.
mhm,
But when you look down through, it's due to not getting in as much money,
mhm.
so you're almost spot on.
Yeah, it's basically
But we don't
that
know what we're gonna get for meals, are you estimating the meals and tax?
Meals and tax, we generally estimate the, and using what they've shown us in the past with our estimate was about 150K. That's not shown in our revenue count yet, but our current revenue, what we took in last year was 994K-ish in revenues. We've currently got 638. So even adding that 150 or so from
You're
meals
still
and rooms,
150 short.
you're still 200-ish short. And about 75K or so of that was sale of municipal property that we had last year but don't have this year. And then another 50+ K was the extra block grant payment that we had last year that we don't have this year. So that to me is the majority of that. We'll get some more, like there's about, if we look at the estimates, there's probably about 20K that comes in this month for motor vehicle permit fees. And so there's a few things that will get better, but that, again, that kind of accounts for that extra amount, so it leaves us about 200. So I think that's fairly accurate.
But we don't have all our budgets finalized. We do a lot of them, but we only, never mind.
We don't know exact numbers for all of the revenues.
Right.
Yeah. And so the revenues are with a best estimate of the last month. The budgets are all what was budgeted, and so.
For that year, not moving forward.
Correct.
But what it is, what they budgeted for, we're about 200 short. So we'll have to find some place to make up that 200.
Well, so the revenues, whatever is not taken in as revenue is taxed.
Right.
And so, yeah, the budget's already set, that's already set.
Gotcha.
It was the whatever few percentage points that we changed overall at last March, this prior March. But yes, the big change though is the projected revenues were less and the actual revenues are less. Let's see. What did, and we didn't do an offset last year, correct?
You didn't, no.
There was the, can you explain the overlay again, please?
The overlay is the amount of money that is saved aside for abatements mainly.
Okay.
If we have to pay out abatement. Last year, we overlaid 25,000 because of the reval. We did not really have a lot of abatements for the reval. We were killed by public service.
Oh, right.
And so that did not help us this year. And this year, I estimated the overlay down to 10.
And that came out of the overlay, didn't it?
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah. He didn't give us figures, they didn't talk about what they wanted to do for the bonding. I probably should have asked about that. But, using his figures, let's do some quick math. 4 million minus the 400,000, and then there was about 10% forgiven, which was 400,000. So that ends up being about 3.2 million. And again, using quick napkin math, we're actually a little less than 25%, but times 0.25 equals about 800,000 worth of that will be towards Webster. They had the payment schedule thing at one point, but they didn't show it today.
Yeah, I didn't see it today, but,
The
and I'm not sure whether they have
The
it.
first 2 years, there are no payments, and it's either 1% or 2%, depending on whether it's a 10 or a 20-year. I certainly hope they're smart enough to go for the 10. And then after the 2 years of construction, once the project is completed, then it jumped to 2, or I think like 3.7 or 3.8, something like that percent, whether it was the 10 or 20 year. At that point in time, that's when you started paying. And of course, the first 2 years, you pay a lot more than the rest, which kind of evens out. There had been somewhat of a expectation that they had originally set an expectation that this would be less expensive.
I can't believe there's not more money out there for it though.
And, yeah, it seems like it should
400
be.
seems like a sneeze.
But
Achoo! That's it, that's all I'll give you.
I
You don't
think
even need a
I
tissue.
think they don't dare give more because they're gonna have everybody do it.
Well, what if a town says I just can't?
What was that?
What if a town says I can't?
Then they shut them down and fine them, and they're paying fines forever, and you can't use their transfer station.
I don't know. Stay
Like-
tuned to stay tuned.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, but in any case, I know there was some that was put into the transfer station fund to be able to account for some of this. And of course, that wouldn't show up in like another couple years. So what percentage, how much are we over our percentage? I know there's a, like you said, 10 to 12 was our policy. We're 10 point something, but roughly what is that?
0.47.
Roughly what is that in dollar amounts for over 10%?
Well, that's a very good question. Let me see if I can tell you.
I have a, while we're thinking about that, remember they're talking about putting the solar array, the big solar array in Webster on that? What's happening to that? That'll help our taxpayers, I would hope, if they ever get it done.
Yeah, I was really hoping that we would have more news on that. We don't.
Oh, well, good. Well, I mean, it's not good, it's just, it's still in the works then, they haven't shut it or anything.
They haven't told us they have. The last thing that we know is that they paid us the option to extend the
Yeah, the years.
the lease capability. So they're paying us to do nothing currently, which isn't a lot, but it's helpful.
Better than us paying.
But
We won't know for a while, I take it.
there were lots of issues and challenges around the interconnection. And if you remember when they talked about, not the solar people, but if you remember when the folks came in and talked about the whole lines being upgraded to go back and forth
Oh,
through
yeah, yeah.
Quebec and stuff?
Yep.
Well, that all got approved, went through, all the numbers that had been presented to them for requirements were all based on that project having happened. the project all got approved, everything went through. And then the companies backed out because they couldn't get a guarantee from the government saying, oh, we'll definitely make sure that everybody pays for that. And so they canceled, and so the government shouldn't have needed to do that.
Yeah.
Because it was shown to us, as we were sitting here, to be
right.
perfectly commercially viable.
Yeah.
And the people using the land would pay for it. But they said,
what's
well,
that
the
telling you?
government's not gonna guarantee that they're gonna make sure that it's paid for. So the companies involved canceled the project, which means none of the changes happened, which means all the numbers for the interconnection were wrong. And so it's,
a
I
mess.
don't know where the status is for them exactly, but yes, it's all a mess, and it's probably all
Gonna be a
based
mess
on
for
that
a long
interconnection.
time, yeah.
Um, So I really hope they can get things figured out so that we can actually have that
You
project.
think they're really working on it, or is it just like way on the back burner, so far back you're not gonna find it?
I think it really depends on where that interconnection
Should
process
we,
is.
as a town, should we as select people write to them and kind of say what's happening here, or would that be just a waste of time?
They give us a quarterly update,
But would they,
and the quarterly update so far has basically said we're still waiting.
that's a lot. Well, I just wondered if we could kind of like, selectmen kind of kick them a little, say,
I've
move
been
along.
meaning to call them and ask if there's a little more of an update, but I haven't gotten around to it yet. And I don't want to bug him right before Thanksgiving.
Oh, okay, no, that's fine. But that might be something to look for January, after the holidays or
We
something.
should assume that by the time we get
Now,
to...
you know what assume
No,
means.
We should assume that by the time we get to January, that we will get a quarterly update from them. It may
Oh.
not say much of anything different, but
Okay.
we should have one.
I just thought maybe if we kind of push them along a little, a little nice
Mhm.
handwritten notes or something, or,
It would be nice.
okay.
Um,
Can put that on the back burner, please, sir.
A nice little handwritten note.
Yeah, something. Something so to kind of wake them up.
Dave, I'm gonna say 75,000 roughly.
Okay.
What was the question now? 75,000 what?
How much, so we want to keep 10 to 12% in their fund, and the 75,000 is roughly the amount above the 10%.
Okay.
So we've got roughly 75 grand that we can play with for,
To offset the 200.
to offset something.
That would give you about 20 cents on the tax rate.
Okay. So there are a couple things that we can consider doing. And I wish we had a little bit more detail on our current budget, but why is that showing as not having minus ref? Okay. So something got skewed there. Should be 32, so this is change. Oh, because a line got removed or something. A column got removed instead of another one added. But let's see, looking at all of these figures, we're up 20, 22, 24, 25, 36, 40, 3, 67, 70, 75. Oh, because there's nothing there yet. I'll just pretend it's the same. 95. It looks like we're up about 136,000 let's see, minus that, so up about 133,000 if highways and streets didn't change at all.
And
it's
do you
probably
take the
gonna go up.
133 and add the 75, or is that before the 75? Or is that done something?
I'm just talking budget, only budget.
You mean we're
75 is
up?
a different thing.
Oh, okay, you mean we're up
In
100?
our operating budget,
Okay,
if
not the
highways and
revenues,
streets did not change.
Yes, we're up.
We would be up 133-ish
33,000.
for next year, which is significant.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, I think so.
So we're
Especially
probably
where our
gonna,
revenues are down.
we're probably gonna have to look at that, and I hope some of these are because of the reference miss, that they're actually looking at the wrong columns now. So I'll have to go look at that. Some of that is though expected for things like the cemetery and insurances and so on. So most of this doesn't look all that off. Of course, there is a large increase in the code enforcement portion, as had been discussed. So none of it looks particularly out of line with what we were presented. So I would not go in expecting that we will have a low amount of change into the coming year. So I would not personally want to use all of the 75K to offset this year, because that'll just make the jump all that much larger next year. And you know, it kind of presents a fake tax rate. The thing that we could do, A, we could just leave it there and then we could be able to offset more next year if we wanted to. B, we can, instead of using a bunch to offset tax, we can put a warrant article to say we want to add this much extra to transfer stations to be used for offsetting bond payments. And that way it will sit there, it will accumulate in that fund, and then we won't have to fund that fund as much from taxes next year. That will kind of give us a one-time offset in a similar manner to help smooth it out, when the whole point of putting that extra in the fund in the first place is to continue to smooth things out because of the bonds. So that's where I think the options are. What are both of you thinking, feeling? Do you want to just have as cheap tax right now as possible and a larger pain point next year, or do you want to kind of keep it more steady and even, or do you want to use what we have in a warrant article to try and reduce what we need for next year?
Decisions.
Or something entirely different that I haven't mentioned.
Well, I really would like to have more stable numbers of what exactly,
Yeah.
I feel like we're kind of going around. I mean, you kind of pointed out where we're short and where we're a little more expensive, short on money, on revenue, and our overall operating's up. Did I just sum that up to what you said?
We're
Yes.
not really gonna be short of money in revenue, it's just that the year's not done. That's the
So-
problem.
We're going to be short compared to the previous year
Yeah.
on overall revenue.
Right, but don't we count on that money in a
And-
sense? But we
and-
have money saved aside,
then-
like the 75.
So some of the revenue that would come in, for example, vehicle fees, you're gonna expect that that's gonna be the same. And so year to year, that's gonna be the same. Right now, that's why we're down more than the 200 that we're talking about, is because we're still expecting some of that to come in.
Right.
Ones that you don't expect to get more are, for example, we've already gotten our highway block grant.
And how much is that compared to last year? I just sometimes feel like we're throwing around numbers without
Last year,
having.
we got about 91, this year, I think we got 72.
Let's see. So highway block grant, we had estimated that we would get 72 and change. And the actual, because of the two bills that apportioned extra revenues from the state as highway block grant, we actually took in 131.9. So almost 132,000 in 2023, and we got basically what they told us, which was 72 grand this year.
Right, which you were talking about, we're being a little, some of the,
So that part is not gonna change, that's just gonna be a number that's down. We probably don't expect that number to change like that again going to next year,
Right,
because we
because-
don't have
yeah.
the extras. And like, we don't have meals and rooms yet, that's whatever it is, it's probably actually pretty good this year.
I think it is
But,
better than looks.
you know, so,
so do we have to
Maybe it
make,
helps.
the question you're asking us, do we have to make that decision right now? Or can?
You've
we
gotta get
need to
the
make the
bills
decision,
out.
or he can't, or they
Oh,
can't send
so
out the final tax bill for the year.
That's right, because yes,
Yeah.
that's why it moves a little bit when you
Yeah.
get you, even though you would think the half would be the half.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, well, the first one is half of what the previous year was, it has
Right.
nothing to do with your budget.
Okay.
Which is, always boggled my mind. It should be half of what you're expecting, but I didn't write the
Because this is
laws.
pretty boggling in itself. Make decisions not knowing what you're really gonna get.
Yeah, right.
Which is what we asked. from
We
everybody,
don't
but-
know exactly where we're going, we do know what we've got.
So
so-
we gotta make the what you're saying is right now, we have to make the decision. And we're, okay.
We
so-
have about 75K that we can do something with if we want to. We can tell him we want to use all or some of that towards an offset of current taxes, which means your December tax bill will be a little lower. We can say that we don't want to artificially reduce the rate, let it be what it actually was, and so in the coming year, it's not gonna be such a big percentage change, and that's its own decision based on the tax rate. The other thing that if we don't use it for taxes and still wanna stay within that 10 to 12%, we could just leave it. We could also say, well, we've got about 75 grand, let's write a warrant article to take that money and stick it into one of our other funds, so that we don't have to fund one of those funds as much, and that reduces the
Right, I get that.
the increase for
Yeah.
next year.
So why don't we say this? Let's take a portion of the 75, because that's the Yankee in me,
Okay,
and put it to, like you just said. And I don't think there's much more that much more leeway than that. And as far as this is where I'm gonna lose my thought, so maybe help me think it through, but if we take half the 75, then what the other question was, what happens with what we put aside for the dump in a sense, right?
so if we, you're talking about putting half towards, or some portion towards the taxes?
Right,
Okay, so let's say that we put 50K towards the taxes, or 25K towards the taxes, either way.
well,
Then,
half a 75.
then
is-
well, it's just.
I'm kidding,
easy
I'm
numbers.
making, I'm
So
sorry.
then
My humor.
the other portion of that, you can sit there, we could say, well, we want 25K towards taxes, we want 25K towards the dump, and we want the extra 25K to be able to offset next year for something if we need to.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
And so that would be fine too.
That's my vote.
Okay.
But what
So-
do you think?
So the third each way?
Yeah, I like
Okay.
it.
What
I'll
do you
second
think?
that, I think that's a good idea.
Well, no, what is your opinion?
Yeah,
I
I think we need to.
You
give
studied it a lot heavier than we have, I'm not gonna lie.
I just know the way that it works, I haven't actually studied the numbers, I really wanted to have budget numbers in front of us to know what the next budget was gonna be, including all the funds and stuff, and we're not even close to that, so.
We're not gonna.
But it's definitely gonna be up, based on the numbers that are sitting in front of us, unless we tell basically everybody, sorry, you can't have what you asked for, the operating budget's gonna be up by roughly however much I said.
So as it gets presented, then we will review, or will we just keep it like what they presented?
Well, that's what we get to talk about when we go over the budget.
Okay, right, so that's fine, so, but we kind of, it's still, you need to know where you're kind of at to be able to tell somebody yes or
The
no.
thing I would say there is that, with the highways and roads and road preservation, it really, like, when we move things around, when we look at actual numbers, when we know that he's not expecting to do the 100K this year for the ceiling.
How about the extra, I'm gonna ask something that you may say, no, Marla, you can't ask that question, or you can ask it,
Yeah,
maybe.
go.
So, where is the money for the road, and the bridges and the culverts that we've saved because we're not paying for the whole thing? Are we still carrying that number?
That number is still sitting in the fund, it needs to be used to pay for it, and then somehow it will go back.
Oh, that's right, then we gotta
into
get it back,
things
yeah.
And keep paying for it, and then once it's done, then it'll show up in this unassigned fund that we're able to then offset taxes or put into other
Well,
funds.
no, granted,
Eventually,
yeah, eventually, but that'll be a couple of years down the road.
yes.
So that might help with some of the other shocking
True,
numbers.
true.
So, brings me back to the,
But also, if the police actually get their hires, and they get the grant to hire somebody, then in 2 to 3 years, then we're paying for an extra salaried person.
well, we don't know, that might be fine, but.
So you still have to hire for and pay for the position, otherwise you
Oh,
have to
that's
pay
right.
the grant money back.
That's right, we don't do that, yeah, make them just stay.
So,
All right, so give
I
us your
wouldn't,
idea.
I wouldn't expect that in 3 years, all of a sudden, oh yeah, we're gonna get all this back, it's a windfall, we don't have other things to also look at increasing. So, I'm fine with the 25-25 and saving
lying?
25. I was actually thinking that, like, if it were just me, I wouldn't do it at all, because then we could put the money towards something specific and make the change be less this coming time. But
You wanna do less of that? I mean, you have, let's be honest, you have studied things a little bit more than me, and plus, I feel like I am feeling a little thrown at with this too, cause
yeah. So I'm just gonna channel my inner Dana here. I don't like the tax offset because it fakes your tax rate and makes people think that you're doing better and you didn't have as much of an increase or whatever in your budget or reduction in your revenues. We had the reduction in revenues. We didn't, like, we were really close to the same on our total overall ask with budget and funds last year. I think it was like 1 point something different for percentage. So we actually did really well, even though our tax rate's going up.
and the tax rate that is.
And we're not gonna be able to hold that like 1 or 2% this year. Like, it's not close, based on the numbers that I just spitballed through, looking at the totals from what everybody's asking.
Do we have the
I don't know how you make
school
the decision
tax, and
personally.
we have that
We have, yeah,
already, we have it here, right?
it's, yeah, yeah.
We don't know what the schools and stuff will do coming up, though I will say that right now, with the way that the budgets have gone and the expectations and the way that they're doing incomes for the state is not expecting to fully pay for all of the special education
Yeah.
amounts
That's
to the
killer.
schools, which has been our drastic increase in Merrimack Valley over the past few years. So even if the school is pretty close right now, and even if they say that they're keeping their budget numbers about the same, or I'm sure they'll go up again, but let's say they go up, a couple percent or something, it's probably going to be a fairly large increase in the portion of our taxes next year. So, yet another thing that will
That's why you
probably make
wouldn't
it
mind-
jump even more next year.
That's why you wouldn't mind leaving the 75 there for next year.
Or using it to offset us, so that we show up as a flatter line all the way through.
But you mean next year and move along with what we got for this year?
Yeah.
Without playing with
Yeah.
the 25.
As much as I'd just like to pay less taxes.
How much do you think their tax rate, I mean, what would how much would it go up? So what our tax
mean-
rate now is like 20,
If you're,
what is it now? I don't know off the top of my head.
well, the rate, if you don't do anything, is 15.53. Last year it was 14.88 per thousand.
Okay, so it's up $1.
No, it's up 65
Oh, so
cents.
that's what you were saying, okay,
65
okay, okay.
yeah.
Sometimes when you're talking, I'm like 65%, 65.
Not 65%, no.
Yeah, well, but you know what I mean, 65
Yeah.
cents, okay.
So,
I feel like a little
65
uneducated
cents
here.
per thousand, so,
Well, it's not an easy concept. There's so many factors to it.
Well, that's where I feel like, well, how am I gonna argue when
And-
you feel like you understand a little bit more of the concept more than,
so
like on an
using an average, let me show the whole thing so I don't misquote.
like a $400,000 home, is that what you're saying?
So about a $300,000 home, it's
Yeah.
about $195 difference for the yearly tax.
For the year, not for the half a year, for a whole year.
Correct, for the full year.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is instead of kicking the can down the road, we should leave it alone.
Instead of making it a bigger jump next year.
Well, right, it's, yeah,
Yeah.
kicking, and then you don't know where it's gonna land, could end up in
Could go in the.
But,
big hole.
but we can do some of, so for example, if we look at, which we haven't talked about at all yet, the warrant articles, where's the transfer station? The transfer station went up to 50,000 and then went up to 117,000. The extra, the jump to the 117 was primarily to add additional for the PFAS bonding. So we can probably, and I haven't been sitting in CIP, but I'm gonna guess and hope that they're on the same page, that would actually be able to go back at least some towards the 50,000. And if we were to say, you know what, let's just stick 50,000 into it from the unassigned fund as a warrant article, that doesn't come out of taxation, so then you either don't have anything or we only take, 25 or something for the normal projects out of, from taxation. That helps a lot for the tax rate next time. So, when do we get the CIP?
I think they're just about done with, they're gonna make their recommendation, I believe,
Okay.
very soon.
Do you know what they actually were thinking
Nope.
on that line?
No, I do not,
Okay,
nope, I have not really been,
okay, so I'm gonna hope / guess that's the case. Either way, we can basically at any point say, instead of offsetting tax rate, we wanna stick this into the fund because we had excess whatever. So if it were me, I would say, hopefully they go back towards the 50,000, and then whatever that number is, we say for this year, we're gonna have it 0 because we wanna take it from the unassigned fund instead. That helps out next year instead of this year, with the same money.
okay, what he said.
Did you wanna offset this year's at all, or did you wanna save it all for doing stuff like that?
I just think sometimes people would say, I feel like I might say, well, I would take some of it to offset it. But then there again, I don't know, it's a guess, I don't know, who's got the crystal? Well, you don't recommend it, taking any of it?
If you're asking me, no, I
Sure.
wouldn't,
Take none of it?
because I don't think you would gain enough.
To make
To
the
really
difference
make it- to
to,
make it
yeah, moving it
worthwhile.
all around for what reason,
I
for
mean,
$2 is what
yeah,
you're saying?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
Yeah.
so.
You
we-
might change what people pay by like $20.
Yeah. No, cause like you say, the heartache could be that much worse. Not that 75,000's gonna save next year, but it could,
Well, I mean,
It
you
could-
hate for taxes to go up, but it's a fact of life.
Mhm.
And
well, I mean, still,
if you, Dave hit it, he knows, he's heard me preach long enough, he's a
Okay.
little tired of it, but you create a false tax rate, I've seen it happen many times.
Oh, I'm
And
sure,
then the next
it would be
year-
very easy to do.
You know.
And then when you're running on your way out and somebody
Right.
new comes
You
in,
know.
you go, boy, didn't they look like heroes?
It'd be great
Not
for
zeros.
Dee
They
because
look
she's
like, they look
gone.
horrible.
Well,
The new
that's
people.
right. The new people, that's what I'm trying to say, we
Uh-huh.
look like a hero, the new people, poor new
And-
people look like they're,
and-
they didn't.
Well,
And
it's
I
fun.
will say
Yeah.
that we, as this board, we have used tax offset. We've helped people make it through things like COVID, where like the tax offset actually really helped things. We used tax offset to kind of smooth out the rate, and then we've kind of gotten away from that, so now we've been at our actual rate the past couple of years. Well, last year and potentially this year. And we've done it while keeping our budgets really in check. So I think as a board, I'm very proud of everything that this board has been able to accomplish in that realm. I could certainly see somebody going, they're horrible, they raised our rates, but like,
Well, I think
that's not our fault, that's because
When
the
you
the
start-
state is
Yeah,
doing this,
that's
it's
right.
not us.
Right.
Well, the whole evaluation, people kind of confuse that with,
Yeah.
Yeah.
oh my
Easy.
God, right? And that has really enough, that was required by law that we have to do.
And thankfully, that was last year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right, but their sticker shock is still there, you know?
Yeah.
If
And
you
so-
had $1 million in
Well, then
funds,
you
Yeah.
might think about it.
I mean, then obviously you have another issue.
Even 500. 75 is not very much money.
No.
And 25 isn't gonna do it.
Well, our fund balance really 700,000, but he asked me what the 0.47%.
Yeah, because our policy is between 10 and 12, and so that 75 is what is above the 10.
So
So
on
to
an,
bring us to the minimum of our policy, basically.
yeah, and on an average home, it would go up a couple $100 for the year,
Yes,
not the
Correct.
half year.
yeah.
But
Which is
the other
horrible,
thing is the
but,
values of houses have gone up in a year.
Well, that's what I was just
Gone-
talking about, and that's why everybody's like a sticker shock, cause,
but they haven't, the values of houses haven't changed from last year's taxes to
no,
this
this
year's
year, no.
taxes.
No.
They're both
Because
for
the
5
reval
years,
was 4 last year.
Yeah, right, but still,
So it's only about that, 190, 180 on an average house.
Well, so now we kinda, we'll know better coming in, but right now, I think what you're suggesting, and I think I understand, sure, I'm not gonna speak for Dee, but just move forward.
Yeah,
And-
I'm
and-
personally for not doing anything, but if we
Okay.
do something, I would suggest it be in the 20 to 25 range, which is basically not gonna change anything, but we're giving some back immediately instead of hanging
Well, it just
on to
it feels good to do that, but it's not really
But it doesn't really
amounting
change
to
anything at that
yeah.
point, yeah.
20 cents, you can't buy anything for 20 cents, never mind.
But we
Penny candy
can,
anymore? No,
yeah, no.
it's 25. It's like, I
Yeah,
love the
it's a
dollar
quarter.
store. Yeah.
But yeah, we could definitely use whatever is whatever comes from the CIP for request for the transfer station, or some particular other
Well,
fund.
but we
We
still
can say
have
we
that.
wanna fund it with this instead of taxation next year,
Yeah.
and then we end up with a better budget, which makes sense because it will, again, just help smooth out the curve.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do that, I guess.
all right, I'm game, second.
So which one?
Doing nothing.
Okay.
I just don't see the point in 25 unless
Yeah.
it just makes people feel better, like I goes sometimes it does me, but.
I mean, at that point, you can say, yeah, we used some of the extra to offset your taxes, but then, and they were still that much more.
Yeah.
So, like, you really don't benefit. It's if somebody is.
But I'm glad we
if-
kinda
if
know that's
someone is
going
hard
into
up
what
des-
we're just
If someone is hard up desperate for money, that could help them. If somebody is trying to budget and finance, it'll be better for us to keep the rates flatter as we go forward.
Mm-hmm.
So, you win some, you lose some.
Could I have a motion for that, please?
For what?
for the tax rate, that you are going to accept the tax rate of 15.53 per thousand?
I would move that we accept the tax rate as presented.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Now, if I could get you to sign,
Ah.
if you had changed this, I would've had to run downstairs. and
Oh my God.
But I need 600,000 by the 17th of December,
Is that all?
Yeah.
It's cheap.
and I don't have it. Well, the town doesn't have it.
You hear, I thought you were gonna loan it to the town?
Here, you want a
Well,
pen?
you know,
Sure, I can use your pen.
I have to ask
Well,
the
you-
family treasurer, and she's not known to be generous.
Well, you can't say we didn't discuss it.
No, no,
Dave, you know you're always good for that.
this is true.
Did we kill that yet? Sure.
You're trying, man.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So what is the, being that we're going into Thanksgiving, what is is a reasonable expectation that bills are probably sent out the second or so, and then due like
Karen and I have talked
first
about
or so
that
of
today.
January?
And she said they're gonna be due January 6th,
Okay.
based on if we got.
So they'll probably go out within the first week of December, so
Exactly.
people should look for them in their mail day.
Right around Christmas.
Yeah, yeah, happy holidays.
Yeah,
No,
really,
you can
huh?
be thankful that your bill is about to show up.
Yeah, right.
Then I have I've got the manifest to sign, and Marlo, I didn't bring the bills up, I'm sorry,
Oh,
but
my God.
anytime you have a question, please come see me, anytime, day or night. And then that's.
He
the
might not be
payroll.
in the office.
Yeah, but
he's
go
in the
ahead,
office.
go ahead, Marla, sit down there and look for the bills.
You know.
What's
okay,
advanced
then.
investment property?
That's a human service case.
Oops.
Okay. I assume similar for Best Western.
Yes. That's my vacation.
There you go.
So that's 20 for 2 weeks, right?
Basically, yep. Which would not be reflected in what they've already done, so that would be, yeah, that means there's only about 40K, 20K and change left for the rest of the year in the budget. Why are we paying membership renewals to Quill?
That's a very good question, but I'm sure that if I were to ask,
They
it
call
would be that
postage.
we
No,
belong to a membership.
Quill is.
It's an office
They-
supply.
Quill is basically Staples. It's the other,
Yeah,
It's
yeah, I
the
got
other
it,
side
I
of
got it, I got it,
Staples.
yeah, maybe.
they're the same company.
It's probably because we get a better price for office supplies if we belong to their club.
Oh,
How much is it?
$70.
It's enough.
That's the,
Oh, the Toshiba
that's to
thing.
join that club?
$52, that's not bad.
I'll have to, I should look into that.
That's pretty expensive.
I should look into that,
Yeah.
I'm not just sure that.
Well, yeah, to see if their prices are any much, but they're staples.
Wow. I think that's the smallest thing I've ever seen from VHB.
You mean, why'd they waste their paper?
Well, let me just say, don't get used to that.
Yeah, right.
They had to build something just to keep things going.
And then, yeah, just payroll.
You had asked me about, I've got time cards.
Oh, yes.
For payment on the election.
Mm-hmm.
And if you wanna fill these out and get them back to me, I'll give them to powers that be, so you can get paid.
Oh, now we gotta remember.
Yeah, I was gonna say, right. I thought we
Dave, how
wrote
long
them down
were we here?
someplace.
I was here all day.
We were basically all here all day.
That's right.
Except, well.
I was gone for 1 to 4.
Okay,
3 hours.
and I had my wife take my place.
That's
for
right,
about
so
an
you were
hour.
here.
Well, I had somebody take my place. Should I put his name down too?
I don't know how that works. I would assume that they could fill one out too.
I'm trying to think, who
What's the
did I
day?
have?
What was the day?
Um,
7th?
Roy Cangeli? No, he was here. No, he's the moderator.
Oh, so you don't know what that
Roy was helping
The
Dave,
6th? The 6th?
Yeah.
Dave Richardson.
Yeah.
I can't remember who. it
Well, I
was.
should have
I'll
been
to
so
look it up,
excited,
'cause I
you
have
know
it
what
on
I
my
mean?
calendar. That's awful, I'm telling you. I'm
Oh,
losing
that's
it.
the way
I'm
I've
just
been
horrible
lately,
with
too. I can't
grammar and
remember
that kind of
anything.
crap. I'm like, I know it happened, and it was a
What's
Tuesday.
something, what's something you don't
Beginning.
remember, for Christ's sakes?
Time to retire.
There's a lot of things I
Alright,
don't remember.
so that was, 11:05, and we were here at,
I try to get two
what time
people
were we
to
here?
run
7:30?
in my place.
What,
Oh, we did?
here at-
No, I didn't. They wouldn't.
Was it 8
There were two
o'clock
kids I used to
Friday?
babysit for.
Eight.
Now
I
one's
think it was
retired
8 to
from
Let me
the,
check.
Yeah, And
prison
then
as a guard.
we got,
And the other one's not retired yet, but I was trying to really, you know, I used to babysit you. You used to be crazy.
Well, speaking, I have a man from the prison coming tomorrow. He's not in prison, he works at the prison. About painting the town hall.
Oh, I thought they were gonna have the prisoners do the painting.
They are,
Oh,
but,
okay.
but
No,
I've
we
got
went till 11.
I'm not sure if it's gonna get done this
It was
before
8
winter
until 7
because of
was
the weather,
was
but,
the.
Oh, so it's gonna be the outside.
So,
Yeah.
so we would have been here by 8,
yeah.
in theory a little before, but at least by 8.
I think we did that years ago, we had them. And I think at one
I think we always
time,
allowed 8 to 11.
I think we might have had people picking up trash on the sides of the
We
road.
could have.
8 to 8 as well.
I mean, and I think it's kind of a win-win for
Well, yeah,
everybody.
because we don't have to worry about them.
Yeah,
just being happy.
But I think they were picking up stuff on the side of the road.
Not even
at one
close
time.
with the outcome.
Yeah. What-
Just interesting.
I really thought we filled these out at election time.
You did, but you didn't. None of us did.
We did it the previous one,
Yeah.
but we didn't have them for this one.
Oh, okay.
There was a lot going on that day.
Oh, God, I'm telling you.
What did we say we're ending our stead? Brain's fried. My brain was already fried, then you really fried it.
I was just gonna say my week of break, so, for mine.
Your wife was here.
She was.
Yeah.
But that's fine. It's totally gonna break our pocketbook. We do it for the money.
That's what I know. Because see, that's the last one last cocktail.
What time did we get out? 11 o'clock?
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I think I fell asleep at 2.
What was the date? Sorry, what was the
Yeah.
date?
11/5, November 5th.
So do we make a motion to end her out?
Is there anything else, or are we done?
You are done.
Okay.
I would move that we exit the meeting at 7:14.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. When do we want to meet to go over the budget and see who we may or may not want to talk to and to come up with more numbers with Emmett?
Does he